G'day boys and girls, Silly Swagman here with an episode of the Alton Edit. How are we going, Scotty?
Good, mate.
Welcome to my cabin.
Nice little cabin you got, mate.
Make yourself at home,
Good,
mate.
good.
Take your shirt off,
Yeah,
whatever.
Sweet.
So, Scotty, you've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Scotty's Gone Walkabouts. Talk us through it.
Well, something I started probably about 5 years ago now. And it's just a channel based on sort of just getting out in the bush and just enjoying it, like doing all different kind of adventures, whether it's sort of pack rafting or hiking or fly fishing, spear fishing, all of the above.
I'll keep going.
Yeah, honestly, over the years I've collected that many hobbies, it's not even funny. My gear room is overflowing. But yeah, basically just getting out in the bush and just trying to show people what Australia's all about. And yeah, I found there's a bit of a sort of gap in the market that's sort of showing the sort of hiking kind of world and stuff, especially down sort of my area, in sort of like the greater Sydney area, New South Wales area. And just trying to sort of get out there and show people what Australia's actually like. So I know a lot of people overseas seem to think Australia is just desert, where we actually have some really beautiful forests.
They do,
especially
really
on the coast. Yeah, so I get so many people from the States saying, "Wow, I never thought Australia was like this." So yeah, just trying to get people out there and get them keen on the outdoors and yeah.
Well, you do a really good job of that.
Yeah, thanks,
you do a really good job of that. So before the channel, like, where did you grow up and what sort of inspired your passion for the outdoors?
So I grew up in southern Sydney, like Southern Shire area, and I've kind of always like been into the outdoors, but I sort of started off as a young kid. My dad sort of used to take us camping and bushwalking in the Royal National Park, and then I got into surfing. He introduced me to surfing, and then surfing just took over my life up until I was probably like in my early 20s, probably about 20. I just surfed as much as I could. So I've always sort of like been around the ocean, but also just going down the coast on surf trips and just sleeping out the back of a Commodore and stuff, and just waking up in the bush and going for a surf in the morning. It's just all we did when we were sort of in our late teens and stuff, and absolutely frothed it. And then as I got a little bit older, I kind of got a little bit sort of when I was like in my early 20s, I sort of started going camping with like a group of friends and stuff like that, but I didn't really do any hiking. I kind of got out of that sort of hiking realm compared to when I was younger. And then just started, as everyone does when they're only 20s, just go out sort of partying and drinking with mates and stuff like that. It wasn't until I sort of got to like maybe like 26 or so. I did a lot of traveling as well in my early 20s, went all over overseas and stuff. Then I came home and I kind of just got sick of going out and wake up hungover on the weekends and stuff. So on a camping trip down the coast with some friends, we met these Melbourne guys, and one of the blokes knew a little bit about bush tucker. And so he sort of told me a little bit about it and suggested me to get this book. And so I eventually bought this book online. And then one Sunday, just went out to the local bushland around the Southern Shire and just started looking for bush tucker plants.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
And then so that kind of like every Sunday or every weekend I'd start to do a bit more of that. And so I stopped going out so much on the weekends, like partying and stuff, and just get a bit more into just going into the local bushlands. And that kind of started to make me go a little bit further and further. I started like going on different trails in the Royal National Park and places like that. And over time I just started going a bit further afield, and then decided to start documenting, because I knew I was like trying to look for stuff online on YouTube, but there just weren't many people in Australia doing kind of bushcraft or even just hiking or just bush tucker plants. There's a few, like Jake Cassar and stuff on the Central Coast, but there wasn't that many people. So just started doing it, and just 5 years later, here I am.
It's funny, like you talked about like getting that book and you went out into the bushland and started like identifying like wild edible plants and like uses and stuff. And it's funny how much that sort of changes your perspective of the bush, and you look at it in a whole different light.
So much. Like, it's hard for me to go in the bush now and not see the plants and the uses and stuff. It's crazy. Like, before that, you literally just think the bush is just a bunch of trees. And as soon as you start to like learn about the plants and the uses and stuff, it's a really cool experience. Like, it really does, like, you hear about the Indigenous people saying how it connects you to the landscape, and it really does. Like, you go out and you see a plant that's like, might be bush tucker or some medicine or a use, or you can make cordage out of it or something, and just completely changes it.
It's hard not to care for it when you
fully.
When you have that relationship with it, that's sort of like a deeper level, and just bush
nice.
Bashing in with your 4-wheel drive
for
a
sure.
night, and drinking and then leaving.
Fully.
So you did like a full turnaround with your outdoor experiences.
Yeah, and you really start to like you said, just care for the bushland. Like once you start to know the uses and know that they're a useful plant, rather than just being a nice looking plant. Like you really, it's funny that, so in the Royal National Park the other day, there's a particular tree that I know, it's called a sourcurrant bush.
Oh yeah.
And it's a really nice little bit of bush tucker. And they're doing some roadworks next to the road. Anyway, the guys who are doing the roadworks, they somehow broke the tree and killed the tree.
Right.
Whether accidental or whatever. Anyway, now like it bugs me because it's quite a hard tree to find sometimes. And like I actually care for that particular tree, and now it's like broken. And to them it was probably just a tree,
another bush.
Another bush.
Yeah.
Because it is, it's very indiscriminate bush. It looks like a shrubby thing. But I saw its uses, and now like it bugs me that it's not there.
Yeah. No, I
so it's funny how it
understand.
just makes you change like your perspective.
It really does. And if like one of those guys just for whatever reason knew that tree and knew the uses, like there's such a high chance that
they would have done
they never would. Well, they never would have knocked it over.
Yeah, exactly. They knew it was a tasty because it's one of the nicest bush tuckers you can get in the Sydney area. It's like a really sour.
That's what I've heard.
Sour currant, and it's beautiful. Love it. You can put in some gin and tonics. You can put in some damper, and just a really nice little snack. And like I said, if they knew that it was useful, they would have cared more for it. So
yeah.
Wow.
And so the YouTube channel, when did you decide that you wanted to start filming the adventures, or was that right from the start?
It was actually pretty close to the start. Like, I probably started like getting into the kind of like just going some more bushwalks and looking at bush tucker probably in like 2016 to 2017, and I think it was at the end of maybe the start of 2018 that I decided to start filming it. They were very rough videos back in the day, but like I said, there's just a bit of a market, or gap in the market that I watched a lot of people from Canada and America and stuff like that who do that kind of stuff, and I just found that Australia didn't really have many people, maybe one or two here and there, but they weren't very consistent videos at least. And so I thought I'd try and maybe sort of tap into that and, like I said, just show people what we've got and how different Aussie bush can be, and
just to show it off, not just to Aussies, but those other guys making content from their country.
Definitely.
Well, cool, this is what we've got.
Like the first time you hear people like see like a grass tree or something, which is such a prehistoric looking plant, and like wow, and like you tell all the uses of a grass tree, and it's just like a list that's as long as my arm, and so it's cool to sort of introduce that to people.
It's fascinating. And so in terms of like filming and editing these trips, especially when you're throwing in like quite educational bits of information as well, how difficult or how easy is it to film the trip? And then when it comes to editing, how long does it generally take you? How much footage do you like turn up home with?
So much. And a lot goes into making a video. I don't think people realise that. I think especially even when they start doing it, they don't realise how much work is involved. Like, because when you're out filming a trip, like if it's a 3-day trip, you're literally like, apart from sleeping, you're non-stop filming. Like you're always thinking about the next shot and what you can try and like set the camera up there and different things. And then you get home and you got like mountains of footage to go through. It usually takes me like, getting a little bit quicker, but say 30 hours worth of editing for like a 30-40 minute video or something like that.
That seems to be the average, doesn't it?
It does, I'm getting a little bit quicker. I'm trying to sort of like make the videos a little bit shorter, sort of around the 25-30 minutes if I can. And then that kind of makes it a little bit quicker to edit, but it's all.
But you still enjoy it. Like it's a huge process, but you still love it.
Yeah, I do. Like last year was a big year. I did like 26 videos.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I spent like almost 3 months out in the bush or something, like sleeping in the bush last year. It's quite a lot, And
cool.
so there's like 26 videos, which is non-stop, especially when you got to, like, I don't just do this full time, I've got another full-time job. As a photographer. So so I do I'm a freelance photographer, and then this is on the side. And so when you try and like your work days doing photography work, and you go home at night and you got to stay up for another 4 hours at night and going to bed at close to midnight every night to try and pump out a video. And
crazy.
And when you try and do fortnightly videos, you pretty much basically finish and edit, upload it, next day you're packing to go to the next trip. I don't think that's something that people realise, like how much work goes in. Like, there's no way you could do weekly videos. Weekly, you'd have to have an editor.
Not with this style of video.
Not at all. Not with adventure stuff, because it literally takes a day to pack and unpack. Like it takes me half a day on a Thursday to pack for a trip on Friday and get home. It takes me probably half a day to unpack as well. So it's just a day in packing plus the 3 days being out on a trip plus days worth of editing. It's a big job.
Crazy, crazy.
It is definitely a passion project especially when you're starting and you're not making much money, if anything, and you're trying to like hustle to try and get like your content out there and stuff. So
yeah. And so with the photography, is that 5 days a week or 4 days a week? Or?
Yeah, well, I'm a freelancer, so I kind of dictate what I want to work.
Yeah.
Prior to doing the videos, it was 5 days, but I kind of try and get it to 4 days a week now.
Yeah.
So that way I've got the Friday to sort of go out on a trip and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And would the goal ever be to do YouTube full time, or do you like your regular job?
That's something I've been kind of grappling with recently. It's almost at the point where it could be full time. But the money is so up and down with YouTube. Ad revenue can be so up and down. You try and rely on your Patreon supporters as well, but even that's like pretty hard to get new Patreon supporters on. And you can work with brands to try and get sponsorships and stuff. So there is ways to sort of make money in merch and stuff like that, but it's a real grind. Whereas with photography work, because I've been doing it for so long, I've got good clientele base. It's good sort of easy money and stuff. So it is nice to have the balance as well. I feel like maybe making a YouTube could maybe kill like your passion for it. It's hard to know. Yeah, it's always like that when you turn your passion, like your hobby, into your job. Sometimes you can kill it, which has happened to me before with art and other things like that.
Oh yeah, that's right, because you used to do like
illustration work, and I started to turn that into a job as well, and that started to kill the passion there.
Do not do that with the YouTube channel, because we love the content.
Yeah, thanks. But so maybe, I don't know, maybe down the track, I think it would be nice. But at the moment, I'm pretty happy having like a bit of a balance. It's good to mix things up. Yeah,
that's cool. Like as long as you're happy and you're still enjoying it.
Yeah, and so as long as I'm getting out constant content, like regular content, then it works out.
Yeah, that's it. And what would be the highlight from the channel, or like your favourite trip?
With you, mate, of course.
Naturally.
No, honestly though, I think some of our pack rafts trips have definitely been up there with some of the funnest. Like, I love my solo trips, but it's always nice, like, dragging you along and getting some entertainment out of you. It's never, it's always a good trip when Matty loses something or.
Every trip.
Yeah, pretty much every trip. Mate, that Cola River is just...
Start placing bets.
I'm going to go to the Cola River one day with a bloody metal detector and try and find all the stuff you lost in it.
Oh gosh.
Nah, it's I don't know, I think a few of the pack raft trips with you have definitely been up there with some of the funnest. I just got back from a trip from Tassie, a 5-day trek.
Oh, yes.
Through Tassie, and that was amazing, absolutely amazing. Had 3 days of beautiful weather, then the weather rolled in, but even in the rain, it's still bloody gorgeous. Really nice country down there, very different to what we've got up here, like in New South Wales and stuff. Like, there's even pine trees down in Tassie, which has a very American feel to it, and absolutely love that trip. There's a few moments on that trip that just, were very special.
So you've obviously done like a pretty varied range of different trips, big ones, small ones. What would be your advice to either someone starting out, whether they're young or if they're having like a midlife sort of switch in hobbies and passions? What would be your advice to them wanting to get into it? Maybe they don't have all the gear.
That's a good question. I actually get quite a lot of messages on Instagram all the time from people who are wanting to get into it, especially like people I found who've never had any interest in hiking before. Like I've had a lot of like four-wheel drivers who've always grown up four-wheel driving and stuff, but they realise like they can only go so far with a four-wheel drive, and they want to ditch that and chuck in a backpack and get out there and go a bit further. I guess the advice would be to like start small. Just sort of find your local bushland or a national park close to you, and just go on an established track and just do a day hike. And to see how you like it, and then from there just start eventually maybe like then find a national park that has like an established campground, go try that, and then once you start getting a bit of confidence, then you can start doing a bit more sort of off-track hiking and a bit of like off-track sort of wild camping and stuff. But definitely build your confidence up first before you delve into that, because you can definitely get into a lot of strife if you just jump into the deep end and go out in the bush and try and camp wherever you want. It's,
could turn yourself off it real quick.
Yes, very definitely. You can get lost very easily. Like I had a few little situations where I've been a little bit geographically embarrassed, and it's so you just got to be a little bit careful about it. But I think like just start small and sort of work your way up with confidence. Make sure you have like good safety gear as well when you're first getting out to like an EPIRB or PLB is hands down one of the probably the most important things you can carry out in the bush. Also, depending on where you live in the country, just check your local like rules and regulations in terms of wild camping. Like in New South Wales, it's very different to say Queensland. New South Wales is pretty good with wild camping. Quite a lot of national parks allow off-track dispersed bush camping, whereas I'm pretty sure Queensland is pretty strict with that. So just check the national parks plan of management, and in that it will sort of say under the camping section whether you can legally wild camp or not. Just get out there and have fun, and that's the main thing. Like, just ease yourself into it. Just don't bite off more you can chew.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point with that too. You don't need to go and sign up and do the like Larapinta Trail.
No, definitely not. Nah. Like, I went on a trip like recently, a couple of weeks back, and it's just a really beautiful river. Like, very easy trip. Like, I only park my car and walk like 2 kilometers upriver, and it was honestly one of like the best trips I've done in ages. It was such a nice trip, beautiful day, walking by a beautiful river, just fishing for trout, and I just got that in my memory now as like such a beautiful trip that I didn't have to walk 15 kilometers into the deep bush. It was just up a nice little river, and that's all you need just to like reset the.
That's it.
Recharge the batteries.
Gives you a bit more time to just sit and appreciate that one place and just like listen to the birds.
Because when you are doing a bigger like adventure expedition kind of trip, like it is pretty go. You're full on. You just bush bashing. You're wrecked by the end of the day. So sometimes it is hard to just sit back and enjoy it. So sometimes it's nice just to do small trips and take it easy and just really immerse yourself in the place and just enjoy it.
I agree. Who would be your biggest sort of, I don't know if idol's the right word, but who would have been your biggest inspiration for all of this? Outdoors, hiking?
Chris McCandless. Into the Wild.
Yes, good answer.
Honestly, I can't believe how much a movie can like impact your life. But watching that when I was like 18, all I wanted to do was just travel and just live a life of adventure. Like I said, when I was in my 20s, I traveled all around the world. Asia, Europe, North, South America, heaps of places.
Wow,
so,
okay.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to do a lot of traveling, but that's all I wanted to do because I just wanted to just get out there and see the world. I think it's one of the best things you can do when you're young is to get out there and explore different cultures and different places and try and figure out who the hell you are.
Yeah, that's it.
It wasn't until I sort of got a bit older that I wanted to explore a bit more close to home. But yeah, definitely Chris McCandless, and there's always like Les Hiddens, Bush Tucker Man, can't go past that, things like that.
Yeah, a classic.
Yeah, Malcolm Douglas and stuff. So,
what would be your favourite thing about the outdoors? Like, would it be like learning about the plants and the uses, or would it be the adventure of it? Like, what's the thing that really like speaks to your soul when you're out there?
Man, absolutely everything. Like, I think we just rattled off like. Even just look as simple as looking at the plants and just discovering new plants in an area is like it's always actually quite rewarding. Like when you take out your bush tuck book and you find new things, or doing a big adventure, like a big 5-day adventure into the wilderness and just being out there by yourself. Like I think that is a pretty special experience and something that I absolutely love like about solo trips. It's just being out there deep into the bush, knowing that there is like no one around you. You're just out there by yourself, and especially when you sit down on a nice rock in the afternoon with a beautiful sunset, looking over a gorgeous vista, nice little gin and tonic in hands.
Gin and tonic time.
That's it. This should be a gin and tonic actually. But just like those moments, like it's just so special. I had one of those moments up in Tassie the other week, just the most beautiful sunset, and I was just sitting down, just like I had the time lapse going, just watching it, and I was like, this is one of those moments where you're just so content. Like I've had a few of those nice moments out in the bush where like you just don't get that content in natural life, like in everyday life, sorry. Like some moments like that where you just sit down and you're just so happy and so at peace, and I think they're like the best moments out there for sure.
And you're like, planet Earth is bloody awesome.
Pretty good. It's pretty good, worth protecting for sure.
I had another question. Actually, I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Hold on. I gotta get into character for this one, mate. You might recognise this guy from somewhere.
Yeah, that's the guy that always loses his gear in a river.
This is a very important question. Hang on, let me get strapped up here, baby.
Oh, mate, that is just classic. Where's the flap? Is there a flap on that?
Took it off. Slowed me down.
Yeah, right.
So you're locked in a cage, right?
Is this it?
This is it.
All right, yeah.
With a wild and ferocious animal.
Yeah.
Okay? What wild animal would it be? You got two choices. You got a big grizzly bear? Or you got me? What do you pick?
Definitely you, mate.
Wrong answer.
Wrong answer.
I'll turn you into this thing anyway. Thanks for joining us, mate.
It's been so good.
Yeah, it's been awesome getting to know your channel a little bit better, and for the viewers to get a little bit more into. This is weird having this on while I say this, isn't it? Yeah, good for the viewers to see sort of Scotty behind the channel and not just in front of the camera talking about sandstone.
Mate, bloody love sandstone. How good is it, bud?
Love it. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
So good.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, awesome.